right, and we are into our main event. Luke Staley, who is 0-0 on the arena format, versus David Romano, who is 1-0, and this is going to be a 175-pound bout. Both of these gentlemen have experience in both submission grappling and wrestling and MMA, so this is going to be a really interesting matchup. We can see here Luke faking a lot of feints, trying to collar tie here. David collar tying on his own. We got a 2-on-1 grip here from Luke, trying to potentially pull that arm in, maybe start to set up some shots, and all right, see how he throws that by there, trying to open up some room to maybe get in underneath. Luke continuing with those feints, but it is not getting too much of a reaction out of David. He is just pressing forward. He's keeping his head low. He's keeping his feet active. Oh, we got a quick little arm drag there from Luke. These guys are really feeling each other out on the feet here. They're pulling each other in. It's one of our first real, true stand-up wrestling exchanges that we've seen here, which tells me that both of these gentlemen want to play top, at least to start the match. Oh, here we go. Luke in on a high crotch, and he uses it to put David down. All right. So David looking here to isolate and potentially throw up a reverse triangle. All right. Luke's able to pull his head out of there and start initiating some passing work here. Oh, and he already passes, right? Oh, we have another no-gi baseball bat choke attempt from David. It looks like Luke is creating the frame, though. See, Luke's able to frame against David's head, and he's trying to create space, but this is going to be tight. Oh, there we go. All right, Luke is able to pop his head free, and Luke immediately in on a guillotine. Now, this is one of Luke's signature moves here. David, though, he's starting to pull his head out. That is in, it's in tight, and it's going to be tough for David. This is one of Luke's signature submissions here. David's going to really need to hand fight and start to pull his head free, because I can still see the back of his neck, which tells me that it's not too tight, and it looks like here David's able to get out of that. All right, Luke putting him right up against the fence. That was quite the submission exchange. Both of those attempts were definitely close and really had to get a big reaction out of each other. So we got Luke here. Again, they're feeling each other out on the feet. He's trying some really interesting wrestling techniques, trying to pick up the leg with his own leg, maybe get a reaction here out of David. But these guys are doing well with their collar ties here, and just keeping good pummeling. And now, all right, now we got the use of some cage. Luke putting David up against the cage. Both of these gentlemen definitely know how to cage wrestle. We got a little smile here from Dave, seeing Luke pretending to duck in, duck out, almost like they're pretending to throw some strikes. So, oh, Luke here with double unders and going for that, but David's countering with a guillotine of his own here. All right, so he rotated, put Luke up against the, oh, he's getting elevation here. Luke able to put his feet on the cage, though, and he's able to launch off of the cage, create some space. Oh, this is tight. Oh, and he's able to utilize that space to slip his head right out. Wow, that was quite the exchange there. So Luke seemingly unfazed. Oh, what a beautiful arm drag duck under right to the back here. That was a beautifully executed takedown by Luke. He is going to, oh, he's thinking about that guillotine again. Like I said, this is one of his signature moves. This one is tight, a tight arm in guillotine here. Luke is going to really need to get underneath that chin, create some rotational pressure too, because of the fact that he's got the arm in. But oh, and David just pops his head right out of there. He not having any of that. Luke, though, immediately in on a shot, trying to put David against the wall. He works down the leg, trying to pull the leg up. 1 minute remaining in round one. And here we got David perfectly comfortable to work against the cage. He's able to do a nice little throw by here. And see, he's got a real tight grip, and he's going to use that. He's going to plant that foot, and he's going to drag Luke down right to the back position. Now we're getting into the closing minutes of the round, but we'll see if David is able to initiate a potential rear naked choke or really get some tight offense here and maybe get a sub in round one. He's getting the arm across the chin. Luke is forced to defend. He's going for that python choke. here, but Luke turns in there. With Luke's shoulders on the mat this way, it's going to be really tough for David to get a rear naked choke or a short choke grip. So he's just going to try that python choke. Luke doesn't seem to be too phased by this at this moment. David's going to give up on that and start working for his chokes again. He's elevating the leg, trying to get a little bit of turn in Luke's hips, but David really is just thinking about this python choke grip here. All right, and that is going to be time in round one. So round one ended 0-0, no submission from either gentleman, but we had a lot of really close submissions from both of these guys. So now we're moving into round two. We've got, again, very similar on the feet. These guys are, they're comfortable wrestling with each other. They know that there's no points for takedowns, so they're comfortable kind of getting into these unique situations here where, like, David kind of let Luke get those double unders because he's potentially looking for a counter. But Luke is doing a good job sucking the hips in, and he does an excellent job just putting David right down to the mat. And now we've got David locking up a closed guard, and Luke is utilizing some of his MMA experience, putting David's head up against the cage. This is definitely a position that David is familiar with, though. He's doing a good job just kind of pushing his head away, keeping his posture broken down. Luke is going to want to, he's got to break open that guard to start really initiating those body lock passes. But he's doing a good job just keeping David up against the fence, and there we go. He's got some pressure immediately with that knee slice, and we've got another no-gi baseball bat choke attempt. Luke is smiling. He liked that. He thought that was a real good attempt, I guess. And now he is moving, looking potentially for a Kimura or an arm lock, but David's doing a good job, staying real tight, preventing any of those limbs from being overexposed. We got Luke pushing him up against the cage, maybe potentially looking for a guillotine. These can definitely get finished from here. And they can be really tight when you've got the cage and you're able to utilize that to sort of hip into. Yeah, just like exactly how Luke is currently trying to hip into the cage and create some upward pressure. But David's doing a really good job keeping his chin tucked and not letting any neck get exposed, because he knows that Luke is going to really start closing that down. So we've got Luke again starting to pull. He is able to, he's thinking about potentially throwing up. He's switching between those guillotines and that anaconda choke there, but David able to completely pull off there. There's a potential knee bar here, but nope. Luke stands up and he's trying to work around the back here. He's going to potentially try and throw a hook in. David is calm in this position, though. He's able to just rest. He's not in any danger currently, but Luke doing very similar tactics and techniques, just kind of trying to smother. Oh, and Luke immediately in on an arm. David did a good job exploding up and trying to posture out, and Luke fell off the top and was able to lock up this potential armbar here. David is going to try and stack him and slide that arm past the hips and take that out of danger. Luke, though, he has some use of the cage, and that is going to block David's ability to completely pull that arm freely without any obstruction. Luke here is going to want to try and break his grips. Oh, there we go. And David able to pop it out. Luke thinking maybe a triangle potential here, but David able to put both arms back in. And now we have David on top and Luke playing guard. We're going to see here if David is able to mount similar passes and maybe turn the tables here. Luke does a good push off. Both athletes are now on their feet. Oh, Luke again shooting in for that. He's going to switch between the high crotch and the singles. He's going to try and drag David away from the cage and take him down more toward the center there. David doing a good job trying to pummel his hands inside, trying to create some space, and he's able to free that leg and take away the danger of that takedown for now. Luke is doing a real good job, though, of just putting David up against the cage, keeping constant pressure. But David has been staying out of danger for a lot of these submission attempts. Luke scooping one leg, keeping it trapped, and he is going to probably try and maybe lock his hands and pull. Oh, David with a beautiful counter ankle pick there. Both athletes seeming like they have a good amount left in the gas tank. They're just pushing forward, pressing against each other. This has definitely been a gritty match to this point, but both athletes are throwing everything they've got at each other. There's Luke again, putting his hands up as if he's as if they are in an MMA match. We've got the athletes breaking grips here. Now they're going to wrestle from the center. Oh, and a quick Imanari roll look from Luke, but David able to shut that down. He's going to try and flatten Luke out, try and pressure his hips, and maybe mount some offense here at the very closing seconds of the round. And there we go. That's time. So we are going to move on to round number 3. This is going to be a winner-take-all round. So if either athlete wins or gets a submission, they win this round, and they take the match. If there is no submission, it is going to move on to a 4th no time limit round. So now we got David pushing Luke up against the cage, really putting in that pressure, and this is kind of a turn of the tables here. We've seen both of these athletes up against the cage a lot, but typically Luke has been the one on the outside and David pushed up against. But looks like Luke might potentially be looking for Harigoshi counters. Oh, David with a beautiful, beautiful takedown, but Luke right back up. Oh, all right. Luke was looking for that guillotine again right off of that break, but wasn't able to make anything work. There's that arm drag that he hit earlier. Oh, and beautiful duck under here. He's got both. Oh, he's going to get elevate. He's able to do a beautiful mat return. Immediately starts to throw his hooks in, and this is dangerous. This is a dangerous position here. He's very high up though, so he's going to fall off the top, and he's looking to lock up this triangle here now. And he's got the arm bar pressure here, and he's going to probably end up switching back to this full arm bar. David needs to keep his hands locked and get his elbow line free. Luke switching back towards the triangle. He's going back and forth between the triangle press and the arm. Oh, and there's the tap. All right, we have Luke winning this match in round 3 via armbar and taking home the win in the main event.